This is not a show. This is an experience. This is PV Roundtable Talk. I'm your host, Amiri.
I am Asatu Bailey.
I'm Gabriel Williams.
And I'm Mazani Shepherd.
Y'all ready to talk about it?
Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it.
All right. I'm really excited about this conversation that we're going to be having this week. Centering life in our 20s, navigating life in our 20s, life after college, and also parenting in college. So I know that I actually want to start off with parenting in college because I know you have a child.
Right.
So, what has been some of the difficulties that you've had, but also some of the more positive notes of having a child and still being young and in college?
Yeah. I think at first it was nerve wracking, because like I'm young. So my baby was born on right 5 days before my birthday. So
Wow.
5 days before I turned 21. So he just turned in 7 months, like 2 weeks ago. Over time, it got way better. Like in the beginning, I was like, man, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how to, if how I'm gonna finish school. But I was gonna finish though, regardless. But I think it ain't been too many difficulties like people would think it is. People would just think like, oh, life would change, and you know what I'm saying. But I think it's all about your support system. So I had a good support system. My mama, right, my family or whatever, my girl. So it's like those things, of course, help me. You know what I'm saying? Stay in school and keep, you know what I'm saying, doing good. So, but it's more pros than cons. Most people would think it's more cons, but it grew me up, which is the main thing that I could say. So that's the biggest thing. So like I said before, I can't be out here going crazy, wild and doing crazy stuff because it's like I gotta provide. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
gotta
you have
feed
different
my family.
priorities.
Yeah, so it's like my future just got a lot more serious. You know what I'm saying? In college, I don't feel like a lot of people in college are really too much thinking about their future until you know what I'm saying it's time to graduate. But it was kind of like I needed to lock in. So, but yeah, it ain't been too many difficulties though.
Okay. I really like that you said that because that is another perspective that somebody can get because usually in the Black community, you have your older siblings or your middle siblings taking care of the younger sibling or the nieces and nephews in the household. And it just makes a person not want to have a child or not want to parent anymore because I've did it and I grew up parenting you and now I don't have a life or I missed out on many opportunities that I didn't get to get because I was so busy parenting you. And then many times in the African American culture, your parents is like, oh, this is why you shouldn't have a kid when you're young.
Right.
So they will make it as a negative aspect. And I'm glad you're putting more of a positive light on it.
Yeah, and it wasn't planned, of course, but it's more of I look at it as more of a blessing than anything, because it's like I feel like if everything happened for a reason. So maybe I wasn't doing something right, and God wanted to open my eyes, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and so far it's been a blessing, and no matter what happens, I'll probably most likely continue to look at it as a blessing for sure.
And I want to say, I'm glad you said that last thing about God putting you in certain positions because one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is when people are in the midst of their struggles or in the midst of their storms, and they're like, okay, why am I here? Like, I was just talking to someone who works in like foster care. He works with kids who are in foster care or have trouble with their family situations, and one of them was suicidal. And they were like, like I just don't know, like if God loved me, like why am I here? But like my thought process has always been like God is always setting you up for not where you're at, but where you're supposed to be. And there's like the struggle that you're going through is like that's gonna be your testimony at some point. And that part is what can impact and touch people's lives. And another thing that you said was the support system. And whether you have a baby or whether you are just living as a human being, we all
Right.
need a support system through like our friends, our family. So I think that's one of the important things as well, especially in college, because we all are going through, we're finding ourselves and we're in different stages of our life, and you have to have friends who are able to meet you where you are but
Right.
also hold you accountable. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm really, and for me, I had to cut a lot of people off,
Mm,
right? But I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm not really tripping, but I had to because it was like I'm growing, and I feel like, and that's actually one of the stuff we can talk about as well. Growing out of friendships,
mm,
so it's like this really kind of opened my eyes to be like, man, I can't be doing stuff like that no more, And it was like if you don't want to, if you're gonna keep encouraging me to do stuff I don't have no business doing, then I can't kick it with you no more. You know what I'm saying? So
I definitely had to let go of friendships just when I got to school, specifically because I was on one track and this is what I wanted to. And I knew this was really to better myself. I knew that going to school, getting an education, and, really just doing the homework. And, so I had freshman year, I had friends who enjoyed going to parties. And it's crazy. I'm a senior now, and they're not here. So I definitely applaud myself for taking the sacrifice that I did, because I feel like, sometimes you got to let go of stuff to grow. So I definitely feel like, letting go of friends to better yourself, to put you in a better position. I feel like that's probably the best thing you can do to help yourself. Yeah.
I would say letting go of friends many times. I have a struggle with that because, like he said, I am adopted. So I was the type of person I wanted to hold on to as much. And me personally, I build my family from my friends. I didn't have, my mom was always at work. I didn't have a dad. I was taking care of my little brothers and sisters. So it's like when I went to school, it's like my friends are my family. And I struggle with that coming into freshman year, and eventually going to a HBCU or going to any school, they do that for you. I would say I started hanging out with one of my friends and she got an academic suspension. And now I'm at this HBCU that I don't even know about, didn't really even want to go to. And I don't have my friend here. Now I have to figure out life for myself. Now I have to establish what I want to be, build new friends, because you lose your high school friends and you lose everybody else that you have. Can't really talk to your parents because they can't. Yeah,
For
yeah.
like what you going through, or where where you been, specifically because most of our parents didn't go to college, or most of
Yeah.
our parents, they just chose the route to go to work, and so all they know is like work, 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 get money, pay bills,
Yeah.
pay bills. So when you have to come to the fact that, like, you I can't talk to my mama, or I
Mhm.
can't even relate to my dad or something like that, it kind of be like I feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
And so, especially navigating in your 20s, you kind of feel like, I'm kind of balancing life, and I'm trying to figure out life, and then it's like, oh snap, everything kind of going downhill now. What do I do next? Or like, so I feel like navigating in your 20s is definitely for learning purposes, in my opinion. I feel like, um, just really finding out who you are. That's how I feel about
right.
it.
I feel like personally for me, so I'm on like this different type of time, like for navigating through my 20s. I personally feel like if you have big goals or you have stuff that you want to achieve, like me personally, I don't want to be working past 30. Right. So that's like
Facts.
that's
Facts.
just been my goal. No, it's not about, but it's just the industry that I want to be in. By the grace of God, they get paid a lot. So I don't want to be working by the time I'm 30. And for me to do that, you got to make sacrifices.
Mhm.
So like for me, like I said, I got rid of social media, I cut people off. But in the end goal, it's like navigating through my 20s, I got to stay down.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So it's like I'm not into the partying, into the kicking it, kickbacks, and going out.
Mhm.
Cause it's like I feel like ultimately, I feel like every little thing for me is a distraction.
Yeah.
So every little thing that I'm doing is taken away from what I could be doing to get to my goal a lot quicker than I would be if I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
On my journey, I would say it's a little bit more confusing because going back to being adopted, I have my dad, and my dad is 74. My mom is 68, right? And I'm 20.
Right.
And I have a little brother, right? So I have the older generation, and then I have the younger generation that I'm trying to process. And everybody that's older is just like, oh, you don't gotta, just relax. Your 20s, it's fun. You don't gotta worry about anything like that. And it's just like, I'm here. And it goes into our next topic, asking for help, asking the stigmatism of asking your parents for help. Because it's like, I want to ask them for help in this situation, but I already know my mom is just gonna say, pray about it. Well, okay, I could pray about it, but I'm in the situation right now. What else do I do? And sometimes it's like, I don't want to hear pray about it. I want to hear, well, Asatu, this is my experience. That's me too. This is what I did. This is what I
You
went
need
through.
action. You need
And
someone who's
but
gonna guide you.
but at the same time, this is what I went through.
Mhm.
This is what I experienced. So just know you're gonna have to deal with it. Anything I tell you, anything I say, just know it's your life and you're gonna have to
Mhm.
deal with the downfalls. I dealt with my downfalls and now I'm here. You're just gonna have to do it for yourself. And so that's why I really don't want to ask my parents for anything like that.
Right. That's
And to
understandable.
pick back up on what you said, G, you was like, I got rid of social media. I want to know personally, how did you getting rid of social media? How did that benefit you in a way to get closer to where you want to be by the time you're 30? You don't want to work no
All
more.
right.
How did social media, just taking that out your life and replacing it with something else?
Mm.
How did that help you, to like set that mindset like you
I
got?
feel like it's bigger than just getting off social media. I
Mhm.
believe is what you taking in when you on social media.
Okay.
So instead of just me scrolling, right, I'm seeing things as these negative stuff. I'm taking that into my spirit,
Mhm.
right? So and I believe in you know what I'm saying, negative spirits. I don't really want to have nothing to do with
Mhm.
that. So, and I'm into all the rap, everything, right? And all the stuff they talking
Yeah,
about. So it's like I don't really need that in my
I
spirit,
feel you
right?
on
And
that
all the
part.
stuff that you see stuff on Twitter, what they doing, talking about people,
Social
right?
media definitely has like
So
a heavy impact for our generation. That's why I
exactly,
ask, like, because
It makes us
you
more
don't know nobody
toxic.
really
And
yeah,
in our generation who don't have social media. Either
yeah,
got Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. So I feel like that's true, especially with trends. Like
yeah,
people, them big red shoes. Y'all remember them?
yeah.
Like
the
them
Astro
shoes
Boy.
literally was just on social media and they went crazy and everybody bought them. So I definitely feel like what you intake as far as like what you see, what you
Right.
perceive, all that does connect technically with your spirit and how you feel.
Yeah.
So I definitely see how, replacing that and benefit and can benefit you.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy though. Like it took me a minute. But I've always been that kind of kid. Like when I had social media in high school, I used to just randomly deactivate my page, like just
Okay.
because, like man, I be getting sick of what I'm
You
seeing.
bigger than that.
It's
Like
all
you
the
gotta let
same
that go.
thing. So it's like, but then it was like recently at the start of the year, I was like, man, I'm done. I'm gonna stay down for 6 months, and then I'm gonna see how far I can get. But I really want to just be off it. Period. You know what I'm saying? Live
Hmm.
life without it. Period. You know what I'm saying? So, but it helped me a lot now because I'm a lot more focused. So I'm a lot more focused. I don't have to, when I get home, the first thing everybody do when they get home, they gonna sit down and what they gonna do? Open up TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or something. You know what I'm saying?
Scroll,
See what's
start
going on.
scrolling.
You know what I'm saying? So it forced you to do something else.
Yeah.
It forced you to interact or pick up new habits or learn new
Hmm.
things about yourself. So that's why I'm off it, and I'm gonna continue to be off it. I don't feel like I'm missing nothing at first. I feel like I'm missing. I felt like I was missing something, but now it's like it ain't really nothing that important that deserves
Hmm.
my attention on
Yeah.
social media.
Especially if you're dedicated to developing
Exactly.
yourself.
Hmm.
And what I want to say towards that is one thing about social media, and I like that you also said it's about the stuff that you're taking in, because while I think that I could get off social media, like a part of me knows, like, this has been such a big part of your life for now. Just especially like I've made friends on social media. I've made like people that I've connected with that I'll have like a bond with forever. And there's different aspects of social media that can be positive, but also the negatives being like I feel like it's trained us up to be like to live our life for show
Hmm.
instead of living our life for
The
us.
truth.
Yeah, and it's
Mm.
like we're like we get worried about the likes and we get worried about the image and everything, and sometimes that doesn't matter when it depends on like what industry you're in. But social media, like one of the biggest things is comparison. Like you start to see people, especially as we're in our 20s, you start to see people who are younger than 22. Like I just turned 22 and I feel like I know 22-year-olds that are out there living their best life. They've got multiple streams of income, they've got like all these different things going for them, and I feel like a part of me looks at that and I'm like, why am I not there?
Yeah,
Right.
comparing like
Yeah,
why I don't have what they have, or I'm 20, I feel like I should be, at further than I am right now, or why I don't have this or why I don't have that. I definitely feel like that part of social media does a lot for us specifically because like we 20, so we want everything. We know what we want in the future. We want a house, we want a car, we want this, we want that.
Right.
And then we see people that's 22, they got Bugattis, they got Maybachs, they out here living in mansions, they taking trips to Bali, gone, like they going everywhere. And I feel like when you take that and you compare it to yourself, it don't really help. Like you start to like feel more downfall about yourself, or you start having like a little bit of self-doubt, a self, you know not self-confident enough. So I feel like that's definitely a big part.
Yeah.
I would say knowing who you are, establishing yourself, because
Hmm.
many times in your 20s would and social media, it will break you completely down to
Mhm.
where you're lost. You
Mhm.
don't know what you want. Even going to school, counselors, teachers, they would genuinely ask you, what do you want?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be in life? And that is the hardest part. If you don't know it and you don't have that foundation, and growing up in a Christian household and not having God as the leader of my life, I would think like social media would take over my
Yeah.
life. But my life is currently on social media because I am building my platform. I do want to be in front of a camera. So I do have to present myself in front of a camera
Yeah.
to show them that I can do it. So I don't really get the negative parts of social media. But that's true too. You have to know yourself out of everything.
Yeah. And I feel like it's all about what you doing while you on social media.
Yep.
So it's like it may not be a bad thing for some people because they doing the right things with it. They using it in the right way.
Mhm.
Right? They not using it to troll or look at stupid stuff and do crazy stuff with it, but they using it for their income.
Mhm.
Right? They using it to build their platform because they have to do that. So it for me it's just all about how you using it and using it for the right reasons. So like when I get back on it, of course, I'm gonna do everything that I didn't do before because I'm not trying to have to go back to start over and get
Yeah.
off social media again.
Yeah.
So but
Just controlling the spirits, like you said.
Yeah.
You don't want those negative spirits around. And one thing I wanted to talk about, something that you mentioned, was the lows. And I think a lot of times in our 20s especially, we're not prepared for our lows. We're
Mhm.
not prepared for falling down,
Yeah.
falling completely down.
Yep.
And we're going to talk more about that after this commercial break.
And welcome to Roundtable Roundup. This is your boy Janari's house, and we right on it. Name your favorite 3 black people.
We got Rihanna.
Why Rihanna? Why Rihanna?
She's just a beautiful black queen, and she be getting that money.
My favorite 3 white people are Jennifer Lawrence.
Why Jennifer?
She a good actor.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Bridget Mendler.
Why Bridget?
Cause I'm pouring up the wind blows. Something, whatever the song is called.
Hayden Panettiere, another great actress, and John Stamos, because he's the finest.
What's her name? Who be cooking with Snoop? Martha Stewart.
Why her?
Cause she went to jail. She lit. You know, she a rich white lady. They sent her to jail. Oh yeah, she black now.
Okay. Miley Cyrus.
Why Miley?
Hey, look, I grew up watching Disney Channel, so Hannah Montana was one of my favorite shows.
Justin Timberlake.
Why Justin?
I gotta say why? Because I like the way he sings.
Hold on, Megan Good. She's black.
Wait, no, not Megan Good. What's her name? What is her name? Megan song. She ain't got Kelly. Whatever her name is.
Megan Fox.
Her. Yeah.
Why her though? Why?
She bad. She played in Transformers. Benjamin Franklin.
Why him?
Cause I'm about that money.
Wait, Sabrina Claudio. I like her.
Why her?
She a singer. She like make good music.
Luke Combs. I like his music too.
You said famous person?
Yeah, famous like
Kyle Korver.
Why Kyle Corbin?
That nigga can shoot the basketball. George Washington. Cause he was our first president.
Abraham Lincoln,
Why him?
because the Emancipation Proclamation.
John Cena.
Why John Cena?
You can't see me.
Justin Bieber.
Okay. Why Justin Bieber?
He sing.
Okay, cool.
Where my kids?
Yeah, go here.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, why?
He did that.
One, Jim Carrey.
Why Jim Carrey?
He hilarious.
Will Ferrell. Why Will? Because Will funny as.
My favorite white people?
Name it.
Adam Sandler.
Why Adam?
Cause like he's just cool. He rich, but he look like he broke. You know what I'm saying?
Taylor Swift.
Why Taylor?
Because I messed with her for getting with Travis Kelce for real. Like,
Okay.
bagged her a good one.
Welcome back, you guys. We are coming back with our topic. So, like I was saying before we went to break, one of the things that is the most difficult for me, as well as I know a lot of other people in their 20s, is hitting those low lows, like when you really fall down, you're hitting some types of rock bottoms. Some people aren't prepared for those moments, and they're not prepared for what can come after. So what are some solutions to when you hit ground zero? How do you make your way back up?
Right.
I would like to start off by saying, from personal experience, I was a freshman here, and I was going into my sophomore year, and I hit a real low. My GPA went low. That's what I mean by low. I was basically looking like not coming back to school here. Wasn't looking good for me. It was nowhere near like a 2.0. So it was just like, you need to get your stuff together. You need to start. And I didn't really know what to do. And my mom, she was like, you can do it. Bring it back up. But the fact that like they was like, oh, you gotta pay us if you want to come back to school, and it was over 3,000. So it was just like I don't have that type of money. So that was another problem for me. I was like, dang, like I didn't do what I was supposed to do my freshman year here. Now I got to a point where my GPA won't help me. So financial aid talking about no, we're not gonna give you no money. Then after that, it's like, oh, I gotta pay, and then like where I'm gonna get the money from? So I feel like the way I brought myself up was I paid the $3,000, but the job I had barely covered that. And then when I got back in school, I just went in grind mode. Like it wasn't no partying, it wasn't no nothing. Like it was 100% like straight A's that first semester, because I knew that if I didn't put my like 100% in, I knew that like I was gonna really regret me messing myself up. And I feel like that's a low that hit me in school, and that's one that I never want to experience that feeling again. I just feel like that's something that nobody should have to go through. Everybody should graduate. Everybody should do what they need to do to get this degree.
I feel like for me, for my lows, because I've been through a lot of lows, but my lows is different. It wasn't really too much of school, but more like personal things. Like, so like in high school, I used to lose a lot of friends, and then recently in college, right? So having to deal with that, plus losing friends recently, to plus being in school and trying to graduate. So it was like it kind of get depressing, So, and that's another thing about mental health that a lot of people don't want to talk about, is like college can bring more and more stress than it should, right? And adding on to the stuff going on in your personal life as well. So I just turned 21 maybe 6 7 months ago. So, and it was like, just for the lows that I'm hitting, I feel like all solutions can be found, with God. Me personally, right? Everybody got their own beliefs, but just recently I really became big on, man, like praying, right? Because like praying, because I really been at the bottom, and it was like, and I really had nobody to talk to, nobody, none of that. And then I find myself coming up, and it was not because of me, it wasn't because of nobody else, but I really give it like, yeah, I really feel like it's God, So it's like, that's how I feel like hitting the lows, like she said, hitting the lows in school, right? My GPA may be low, my first thought is like, man, I gotta go pray about it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's too much for me to handle on my own. It's too much stress for me to handle on my own. So that's what I feel like, how lows can be dealt with. Everybody got their different solutions, but for me personally, I'll never get sick of it. Never get sick of praying about it if it get hard for me.
We grow from those type of experiences for
Exactly.
sure. I feel like, you being in a situation you in, it may be, not now, but in the next couple of years, a person could be in the same position was in, and you could be that person, God, to being a better person, or that God to being, like put God first. Make sure you believe in him. Nothing gonna be, better than having him first.
Right.
So I think that that's definitely something you can take and use again and again and again in your life to testify to anybody.
Apart from the lows, like Miley Cyrus said, it's the climb. It's the it's the climb. And generally, I was at a 1.62. I was on academic suspension during the summertime. Couldn't go to Baywatch, y'all. I had to really I had to really sit down and be like, okay, Asatu, you're on an adoption scholarship. FAFSA said, ma'am, no, ma'am, you're not taking. No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. You got it. You got it. So you better go to Little Papacitos, get that money, and then pay for it, because what are you doing? And I said, okay, I got y'all. I'm gonna do my big one. So I said, okay, Professor Comax, what do I need to do? I want to be an anchor. I want to do this professionally. What do I need to do? And that goes right back to mentorship. And I said, what do I need to do to become an anchor? And Professor Comax said, Asatu, first of all, what you need to do is learn all parts of the camera, the front, the back, Sats, Latin, all of that. You need to learn all of it because you never know what position that you're going to be in. Sometimes you work as an internship grabbing coffee, and then sometimes you're sitting at that table drinking that coffee. You know what I'm saying? So it's the climb. Don't dwell on being at the bottom. Don't dwell on being at the bottom because everybody needs that bottom person. Everybody, without having the background and without having the media people at the back, that guy doing all the lights, the guy doing the cameras, you won't have the show. It wouldn't be a show. And so I felt like God was like, okay, Asatu, everything has been too easy for you. Look, you think this money is just coming in? You think you got it good? Let me show you something.
Your refund check.
Let me show you something. Let me do some character building because I would say my church is 30 minutes away. I did stop going to church. I stopped watching on Zoom. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I stopped caring about God, but I just started like just taking college in. And he was like, got you. See, you're nothing without me.
Yeah.
And I had to take a step back, and I was crying in my room, and I was like, God, please, just give me. Everybody got that one, like, I promise you, if you do this, I'll come to you, I'll never do this no more. And he was like, yeah, that's what you have to do. I am the creator of everything, and
Get down on your knees and pray.
Yeah. And after I talked to God, after I talked to Comax, and now I'm up here sitting with y'all. And I'm
That's a blessing.
for the opportunity. And I would never forget him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real. But I mean, that's the same thing, mentorship. So how important do y'all think mentorship is for us as we are young up here, we all in our early 20s?
I think everyone should have some type of mentorship, whether it's you do your own research and that's your mentor, you mentoring yourself, or you actually have a physical person mentoring you, only because when you're 20s, a lot of people, they want to build financial stability and they want to build certain things like that. And some people don't know how. So I feel like having people in your corner to help you, like, oh, let me teach you how to work this credit card. Let me teach you how to transfer balances from this to this. Let me teach you how to create an investment portfolio. And having that can open so many doors to so much more. Not just that, like, then that comes in like, oh, I know this good person that will be a good fit for this, because I mentored her and I know that she's capable of doing this. Now you in rooms that you never thought you'd be in, or you taking up space that, like, this is perfect match, like, you should be here. This is what you should be doing. And I feel like having someone who's a mentor who knows somewhat of like the foundation and ways of basically a blueprint of life, I feel like that's very, very helpful for people in their 20s, 30s. I feel like as long as you keep learning, you're gonna keep growing. So I feel like not just your 20s, you need a mentorship. I feel like people grow out of their mentors too. Like, I've grown out of, I need to go somewhere else. So I feel like having a mentor is definitely like having a backbone. And I feel like everybody need a backbone when it comes to life, because you can have a husband and a wife, or but also having somebody that you can connect with, having that one-on-one connection. We could talk about anything, whether it's life, whether it's job, whether it's I want to travel. You need somebody like that in your life. I feel like mentors are definitely somebody who can heal you too. So I think that you need a mentor. You do.
Yes, and one thing I want to say, like a really important thing about mentorship is that, like you said, it goes through all your life. You're always kind of like growing in and out of different mentors, especially like when you're younger. Your mentor most of the time is supposed to be your parent, but sometimes your parental situation is not always the relationship is not there where it's you are my mentor. Sometimes it's you are my parent. Sometimes it's you're just my guardian. Sometimes it's you're just somebody who's telling me what to do.
For sure.
So it's important, especially when you get to college. I think one of the difficulties I had is that because I kind of found myself in a space where I was like, I don't ask for help. And because I don't ask for help, I feel like I've missed out on a lot of opportunities. Like I've watched people make connections with different professors or adults who are in higher spaces and know so much about different industries that we want to go into, or different ways to invest, things of that nature. And it's like I've seen missed opportunities, and I've seen like the chance to grow. And I wanted to say also that like a part of coming up from those lows is changing that mindset. You cannot be in the same you can't be in the same headspace that you were in 2 years ago, or when I was a freshman. Like, my mindset is completely changed, and I'm still trying to change it to where I'm dedicated to my growth, and I'm dedicated to like truly being the person that I want to see. And I'm still
Right.
figuring out who that person is. But it's important that you have people who can guide you and put you in the spaces, because not only do you need mentors, but you also need advocates. And that's something that
Mhm.
people also forget, is that you got to keep those connections and relationships you make, because there are people who are in spaces that you're not in. And that means that if they know you and they know the work that you do, they know the heart that you have, they know the passion that you have, they can say your name and they can bring you in spaces that you never even thought possible.
Right. I have a question for everybody. So, how important? And one first question is, do y'all think y'all friends could be mentors in
Oh,
y'all life?
absolutely.
And the second question is, how important do you think it is having friends who can help you on the path that you on, surrounding yourself with the same people who got the same mindset as you?
I think every friend I have is like a little person instilled in me. So every person that I've had a friendship with, it's like I have a little bit of them in me. So I feel like, I kind of that's my foundation. That's with them. So I'm my own person, but the people I hang around, I absorb them too because
Right.
those are my people. And I think that I learn a lot from them every day because everybody knows so much different stuff. So like personally, all my friends are basically communications major. I didn't know nothing about this studio when I got here when I was a sophomore. They taught me something I didn't know. And that's just I know that may seem small, but it's like they leaving now and I'm gonna be the only one here,
Right.
next semester. So it's gonna be times where people gonna come in here and now I can teach them like the switchboard. I can teach them how to work lights or something like that or camera. So I definitely feel like my friends are my mentors and they have a little bit of them inside of me. So I appreciate my friends.
So there's a quote that Sister Act 2 said. She said, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you have to wake up and pay attention.
Mhm.
And right now I'm on the paying attention side because I lost all of my friends fall semester doing this. And I got to the point where I'm like, yeah, you see me on TV, but I want you to be honest. I want you to be completely honest. If it's something that I do, anything that I say, be completely honest with me because you not being honest with me is not going to help me grow and be a better person. I'm a person that likes things to go my way. And sometimes you need to be like, baby, Chad, you
Yeah,
doing
I
too
like
much.
that.
This is not about
Yeah.
you.
The truth
Yeah.
will set you free.
Yeah. So they don't do that. They don't do that. They're like, okay, she has a career, she has to talk a certain way and she wants things to go her way. So we're just gonna say whatever she wants,
Yeah.
whatever she wants me to say. And I'm like, no, this is something that I need to work with because I'm going to be working with certain type of people. And sometimes that direct language that I learned when I was younger and growing up into, some people don't take it like that. When
Right.
people would get emotional and cry, just be like, and what?
Oh well.
Like, get
Nah,
over it.
for real.
So I didn't have that empathy. I didn't have that caring factor. And now I met this girl named Jessica, and she's very emotional, y'all. She is very emotional, but she helped me because I listen to her stories. I'm quiet. I'm like, yeah. So I'm kind of like helping. I'm helping her make her skin thicker, but she's also making me more delicate.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would say meeting her and just involving my whole life around her and her being my only friend at the moment is really helping. I would
Right.
say that.
That's real
I,
good.
I feel like
hearing that.
I feel like for me, bad company corrupt good morals. So like if no matter how good I'm trying to be, yeah, bad
start
company
using that
corrupt good
one.
morals.
Yeah.
Not seriously, bad company corrupt good morals. So no matter how good I'm trying to be, if all my friends, which this has happened to me plenty of times throughout my life, if I'm trying to pursue this and y'all trying to pursue that, y'all not encouraging me to do this, but y'all encouraging me to come do that, our paths is going two separate ways. So and I feel like a lot of people deal with that, and a lot of people sacrifice what they want to do with their life because they don't want to lose their friends. Right. So it's like, and I had times in my life where I was that person where I was like, man, is this really that important? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this really that important? Or can I go hang out with my
Goes
friend?
back to missing opportunities.
Exactly. So it's like, and me, I missed an opportunity. Right. So a little bit, I could have played D1 basketball, but I was more involved with, man, going out, skimming school, trying to hang out with my friends because I didn't want to lose my friends. These are the people I had since I was a baby, a kid. So it's like, but I didn't want to lose them. So I go ahead and I do this instead of, you know what I'm saying, pursuing what I had in my heart since I was a kid. So I really feel like, yeah, bad company corrupt good morals, and
That's a
it's
good
really
one.
important. It's really important
Put
to
that on a
have
t-shirt.
people around you that have the same mindset as you, because if you don't have those people around you the same mindset as you sacrificing what you want to do with your life.
I agree. I
Absolutely.
agree 100%.
I
Yeah.
wanted to say like it's so important to have friends who not only hold you accountable but also pour into you, and that's why I really loved your story about your friend. Even though it's that one that you have right now, that's that person that it's like a symbiotic relationship that you're giving. Like a lot of times we have relationships that are parasitic, and we have people who are constantly pulling from us and pulling from us, and we're just giving, and then at some point you realize, okay, well dang, I'm sitting here and I'm getting the life sucked out of me, and you over here lollygagging and looking like you. I am full. No, I am empty. Please give me something. So it's just like stuff like that. But I wanted to ask, especially on the mental side, like when you start those friends start to dwindle away, and you just figure out you find yourself in social situations where you're like, "Yeah, I'm not even messing with that person no more. I'm not even like we're not even in the same space anymore." And I remember when I used to kick it with that person. I used to tell this person all my secrets. I used to laugh with this person, cry with this person. It's like I'm a whole different person now, and they might still be in the same position they're in. So what how has it been mentally to step away from those friends and sometimes be alone?
Right. It is. I feel like personally, it's hard at first, but I feel like it's how in tune with yourself are you. Like, how important is your goals to you? That's for me. It's like my goals is to be honest, my future is bigger than a friendship. I'm keeping it 100. So it's like if you put me in a position to where I gotta choose, I'm definitely not choosing you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think it's real important, man, because it's like who you got to think about it in 20 years. You're gonna think about, man, I still got this friendship, but I sacrificed what I wanted from my whole life.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't think a lot of people ask themselves that when they in the moment. So I feel like, man, for me, it's my dreams. My
Yeah.
dreams come first.
I would say it still is very, very hard for me. I have so much love for these girls, and I have mostly brothers. I only have two sisters, and I don't even talk to them. So those are really my sisters, and I really held on to them. And I felt lost without them at first, and then I physically saw them at the ASA day auction that they had yesterday, which they were raising money for their youth center in Ghana. And I was MMJ, and it kind of took that pain away because it was like I'm up here doing my career and they're sitting there looking at me, and we all could have been up here together. So at first it's sad at first, but then when you talk to your mentors, when you take the climb, when you pay attention, it eventually comes together and it builds you and your character. And at the end of the day, you're going to be happy with the decision that you made.
Yeah, I feel like you elevating yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta, you elevating yourself. So like you said, you were up there, but they weren't. You made that decision to, right, take a step up and elevate yourself. So
I wanted to say like, sorry, you had said something that really like hit me. Like I think it's just I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
I
go ahead, go
okay, I was
ahead.
gonna say, for the summer, this past summer, I had an internship, and the internship put me in this position all the way in a different state. I flew all the way to Utah, and I had my friends who we had a summer trip. We wanted to go. I forgot exactly. I forgot. I didn't go, but I chose the internship over my friends, and it was one of my friends. Was really upset. Like because everybody put their money in. For the trip, and now my money not coming in, so now they got to come out of my money out of their pocket and all this stuff, and I kind of felt like my friend was not really taking it and looking at it as like, oh, she's trying to better her career, or she got a job opportunity. I know she was proud of me, but it was like more so her actions didn't say she was proud of me. Her actions said otherwise. Her actions said, you leaving us for the job, like now we got to give more money for this and that. And I feel like, if I'm gonna if I'm gonna have to sacrifice everything for a friendship, like, no, I'm giving my career. My career come first, my dreams come first, everything come first. So I definitely feel like, I'm happy that I put my internship before them, because I feel like, they not in my shoes. So they didn't even have the opportunity. I had the opportunity. So I definitely took it and ran.
That's really important. And thank you for bringing that up, because it's sacrifice versus compromise, especially when we're talking about relationship. And this is what I really want to leave y'all with tonight, is that we're going to have relationships with our friends, our family, our spouses, and a spouse is never going to make you compromise your values, compromise your goals, compromise who you are. But you can sacrifice time, or you can sacrifice parts of you when you are trying to build not only a relationship but yourself. And with that, I leave you, and I'll see you guys next week. This is not a show. This is an experience. This is PV Roundtable Talk. We'll see you next week.